so let's dive into something pretty specific today. We're looking at excerpts from William Boericke's Homeopathic Materia Medica. And we're really zeroing in on Aletris farinosa, stargrass.
Right.
Our mission, really, for this deep dive is just to unpack what this historical text actually says about it.
Yeah.
Pull out the key points presented there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's important to remember what a materia medica like Boericke's is in this tradition. It's basically a compilation, a historical listing of symptoms believed to be linked with different substances.
Okay.
And for Aletris farinosa, this text really focuses on what it calls an anemic relaxed condition, particularly, it notes, in females.
Anemic, relaxed.
Yeah.
So like low energy.
Very much so. The core feeling described is someone who's just tired all the time. And then it links this fatigue to, a bunch of things listed in the source. Prolapsus.
Which is like organs feeling displaced or heavy.
That's how the text seems to frame it, yeah. Also, leukorrhea, described as abnormal discharge, general rectal distress, and importantly, marked anemia. It even specifically mentions chlorotic girls, that's an older term, and pregnant women.
That tired all the time phrase really does seem central in the source's description. Okay, so let's peel back the layers. What are the specific symptoms Boericke lists? Can we get into the details?
Sure. The text breaks it down by system. So under mind, it lists a weakened sense of power or energy, confused feelings, difficulty concentrating is mentioned.
Okay.
And even fainting spells, which the text links with vertigo.
Right, so a kind of mental and physical exhaustion, almost leading to fainting.
Seems to be the picture painted. Then, maybe a bit surprisingly, the mouth section is super brief. It just says, much frothy saliva.
Frothy saliva, that's
Yeah.
specific. What about digestion? What's under stomach?
For the stomach, the source lists quite a bit. A disgust for food, feeling distress from even the smallest amount, those fainting spells again, but linked here specifically to stomach issues.
Oh, interesting. So the fainting comes up under mind and stomach in the text.
It does. Also, vomiting during pregnancy, something called nervous dyspepsia, and flatulent colic.
Okay. A lot going on digestively, according to the source. What about further down? The rectum.
The rectum section describes what the source labels a paretic condition.
Paretic. Like weak or partially paralyzed.
That seems to be the implication in the text, yeah. It describes a state where the rectum loads up with feces. The stool itself is then described as large, hard, difficult to pass, and causing great pain.
Wow, that phrase, loads up with feces, is pretty vivid language from the text.
It really paints a picture. And then the female section in the source is quite detailed. It describes, interestingly, two potential patterns for menses. Either premature and profuse flow accompanied by labor-like pains, or the opposite, a retarded and scanty flow.
So it could be either extreme, according to this text.
Apparently so. It also notes the uterus feeling heavy, prolapse again, that displacement idea, with pain specifically in the right inguinal region, the groin area. Okay.
Leukorrhea comes up again, and the source explicitly links it to weakness and anemia. It also lists a habitual tendency to abortion and muscular pains during pregnancy.
That covers a really wide range of female complaints, specifically tied back to that weakness state. Does the source mention anything else, like how it relates to other substances or how it was typically used?
It does briefly. There's a relationship section where it suggests comparing Aletris to Helonius, Hydrastis, Tanaset, and China.
Okay. Cross references.
Yeah, and under dose, the source indicates the typical range used in this tradition as tincture up to the third potency. Potency referring to the dilution level.
Got it. It's fascinating how much detail is packed into these old materia medicas. So, for you listening, what's the takeaway here from looking just at Boericke's entry for Aletris farinosa?
Well, I think it's really striking how this one plant is described in this tradition as potentially touching on so many different symptoms, right? From that mind fog and fainting to the digestive issues, the rectal problems, and all those specific female conditions.
And how the text itself ties it all back to that core idea. It presents an underlying state of weakness and anemia.
Exactly.
And maybe a final thought, just based purely on what we've read in this source. When you see this range, confusion, fainting, digestion, bowel issues, very specific female complaints, how does this materia medicae itself propose that one single substance is believed to address such a, seemingly broad spectrum? It really highlights the internal logic presented within the source, tying disparate experiences to that central concept of an anemic, relaxed condition. Something to think about.